here's another way of looking at things. I'll start with the definition of this word. This word, phanesthai, is the root word of phenomena, phenomenon. And phenomena are the things that appear to you. And phanesthai means to shine forth. And the phenomenologists who were interested in the shining forth of things made the presumption that the things that manifested themselves to you as most meaningful were the most real things. And I think you can make a strong case that that's actually how your brain is wired, because your brain is wired to react to things that have meaning before they construct the perceptions that you think of as objects. And the reason for that is because the meaning of things is more real, in some sense, but more important than the view of things as objects. And so, for example, a famous philosopher, psychologist of vision said that when you approach a cliff, you don't see a cliff, you see a falling off place. It isn't that it's an object, cliff, to which you attribute the meaning of falling off place to. It's the falling off place perception comes first, and the abstraction of the objective cliff, if it ever happens at all, comes much later. Much later conceptually, because even babies can detect cliffs, and much later historically. Poets have noticed this phenomena, shining forth reality, and they've often associated it with childhood, and I think there's good reasons for that. I think your brain is not so much of an inhibitory structure when you're a child before it's fully developed. And so there's neurological reasons for noting it, but there's also reasons that stem from the level of lived experience. You can tell when you're around children that they're open to things in a way that adults aren't. They're wide-eyed with wonder. And adults like being around children for that reason, because although the child takes an awful lot of care and is a terrifying object in some ways to behold if you have a relationship with the child because they're so vulnerable, the part of the way they pay you back is they open up your eyes that have been closed by your experience and that have learned to shield out the things that shine forth. And when you have a child, you can look through the child's eyes again, and to me it's like they're on fire in a sense. They're like a candle or something that's burning brightly, and I think that's also partly because we actually don't screen out fire. We actually see fire, and that's why we can't not look at it when it's around. I think the same thing happens when you're in love with someone. If it's genuine love, because genuine love gives you a hint of what could be in the future if you could just set yourself right. You get a glimpse of what could be in the future if you fall in love with someone. You don't get that without work, but you get a glimpse of it, and I think it's because when you fall in love, and I believe this is likely a biochemical transformation, is the perceptual structures that normally stop you from seeing people, because you really don't see people, you just see shadows. The barriers are lifted temporarily, and what's really there shines through, and it's overwhelming. But to stay in that state, well, it requires a tremendous amount of moral effort, is really the right way of thinking about it.